Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, we're going to take a look at the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma and compare it to the 2024 Nissan Frontier. So let's start off with the engine options that are available for both of these trucks. For the Tacoma, there are two different engine options. The model in front of us has the base engine, which is a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline four-cylinder. It has 278 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque. Now for the Nissan, you only have one engine option. This is a 3.8 liter V6 with 310 horsepower, 281 pound-feet of torque. So for the Tacoma, those horsepower and torque numbers are a lot more similar to the NA V6 in the Nissan there. You can get the hybrid for the Tacoma, which would pump out a lot more power. Now, as far as transmissions go, we have an 8-speed, which is all new for the Tacoma, 9-speed for the Nissan, which is not new. This weighs in right around 4,300 pounds, 4,400 pounds for the Nissan, so very comparable for their midsize. And then 0 to 60 for the Tacoma is around 7 seconds. It's going to be closer to 8 seconds for the Nissan. So we have a smaller engine from the Toyota, which is a little bit quicker. As far as towing capacities go, right around 6,400 and 6,500 pounds. Now, as we work our way to the exterior styling, for the Tacoma, this is going to be subjective, of course. Comment down below which one do you like better and why. For the Tacoma, we have a narrow upper grille there, along with a sensor. Fog lights are also integrated into that bumper section, and there's parking sensors up front as well. Lower air dam, which will help provide better airflow and better aerodynamics. However, if you plan to take this off-road, that is very easy to take off. For the Nissan, we have a larger grille up top, larger inlets down below, along with a skid plate for this model. There's tow hooks, and then the fog lights are also pushed over to the side. Frontier is stamped on the upper section of the grille surround as well. So pretty similar for their front end appearances, just a little bit different of a design, of course. And then the hood scoop on the Tacoma is specific to some certain models. Now, as we work our way to the side, again, we do have some variants with the trim levels. Body colored for the fender flares here. They are plastic on the Nissan there. And then wheel options are going to be different as well. There is a package added to this Tacoma with the XP. It gives you those wheels. For this Nissan, we have a very nice two-tone design there. And then both of these do have steel running boards with the steps there. They are fixed on the Tacoma. However, on the Nissan, you can actually take these steps off and just have a built-in rock slider ready to go. So very configurable with the steps there. And then we do have the quad cabs with the shorter beds. So just taking a look at the side profile design, a little bit more boxed off for the Tacoma, especially with the rear spoiler here and the indentions. So a little bit smoother design. This mimics the third generation Tacoma a little bit more with the styling characteristics there. And then we have some very nice edgy lines for the bed side there. And then Tacoma is stamped in the back. This also has the body colored end caps with all these sensors, hitch, of course, side exit exhaust, and then we do have the soft opening tailgate. Now, new for the Tacoma, you can actually get a power tailgate. So there's a button on the side to raise and lower it. But this has a plastic bed. There's storage. There's a 3-prong outlet, and then all the tie downs as well. And then even some auxiliaries on that driver's side there. Very lightweight tailgate that you can easily close. And then over on the Frontier is stamped. Seems to be a pretty common truck theme. There's a backup camera, no parking sensors for this model, and no hitch for this specific model either. That is an option that you can get, of course. And then we don't have a plastic bed. We have the exposed bed here. There's also some tie-down hooks. There's no auxiliaries or anything like that, no storage either. Now let's work our way to the interior now, where for the Tacoma, we have a pretty good size. It's not any larger than the existing Tacoma. This model has the two-tone seats. When you don't get the hybrid, you get all of this storage up underneath. If you get the hybrid, all of that is taken up by the battery system. So it's nice that you still get that storage if you opt for the base engine here. And at my height, 5'10", have a little bit of room with the front seat set at my height. There's cup holders, auxiliaries, no armrest or anything in the middle. There's no climate adjustments or anything, which I think would be nice. But this has the power sliding rear glass, and I have 1.5 inches or 2 above my head. I used to own a Tacoma, so this is pretty similar to my 3rd gen. I think it's still nice. These are both mid-size trucks, so it's going to be a little bit crammed compared to a full-size truck, of course. But as we work our way to the Frontier now, you do get a little bit of space underneath. So there's a bin here. There's also more under that other seat as well. And this is a little bit lower of a truck, so it is slightly easier to get into, but as far as legroom goes, seems to be about the same. You only have auxiliaries right in the middle. However, you do get the armrest with cup holders in the back. Now this has a manual sliding rear glass as opposed to the automatic in the Tacoma. And these seats are very upright. I am sitting up a little bit more upright than I would be comfortable in, but I still have roughly the same amount of headroom too. So this is a little bit more upright than the Tacoma. So personally, I would think that the Tacoma is a little bit more comfortable in the back seats, but they have about the same amount of room. Now, as we work our way to up front, you'll notice too that very nice materials for this model. There's even the orange accents for this, being the Pro 4X. And as we hop inside, we have a small start button down below. And I will have a full review of this exact truck, as well as that exact Tacoma there. So if you want to see all these details, check out those separate videos. I'm going to go through it a little bit quick today. So we have normal controls for your cruise control, as well as being able to go through the gauge cluster too. So there's a little bit of info that you can scroll through with the tach on one side, speedometer on the other, and everything is laid out very nicely. So it's nice that you have everything here front and center. You can even go through a bunch of these settings that you can configure as needed. So very cool, even some of the off-road features for this particular model. Left side, there's the rear locker traction control. There are lights in the bed. There's the downhill assist control, even a tow mode too. And then we have a pretty simple infotainment system. With your menu, you can go through some of these here that you can configure as needed, just with some of this tech that you want to go through. But everything's laid out well. Climate adjustments are underneath that. 4-wheel drive for this model, and then some auxiliaries. This does have a backup camera as well, and then a little bit of storage, a lot in the center armrest, as well as in the glove box there. No sunroof for this model. Sunglass holder is up top though, and there's also a little bit of storage in the dash there. For the Tacoma here, we do have some options that you can choose from. So this particular one has the blue accents. We also have the two-tone seats for this. There is a sunroof up top and a sunglass holder. So like you saw over on the Nissan there. Very nice large steering wheel with your cruise control settings. This even has distance pacing. And then for this gauge cluster, not as configurable as over on the Nissan. It is a digital gauge cluster. However, you only have these 3 different modes to choose from. So not quite as many options as on the Nissan. There's a cargo light just like on the Nissan. However, you have the bed power outlet, automatic headlights, and then this is the larger optional screen. So you don't have to get this large screen, but you don't have that option over on the Nissan. Now it's pretty similar to the Nissan as far as the info that you can go through. Not too configurable, but you can pair your phone to this system, you can pull up nav, and you have some settings to go into. This model also has heated steering wheel, heated seats, climate adjustments, which are laid out very nicely with all of those controls. You get wireless charging though in the Tacoma, some more storage there, backup camera, very large with the bigger screen there, and there's a few different driving modes that you can go through for this model, as well as a tow and haul mode, just like you saw. This particular truck does not have 4-wheel drive. However, of course, you can get a Tacoma with 4-wheel drive, and it will have a locker as well, depending on the trim level that you go with. We have a little bit of storage there. There's also storage above the glove box and some down below. Pretty similar size in the feel for this truck. However, we have some newer updates for the all-new 4th gen Tacoma. But with the exteriors and interiors out of the way, let's hop in the Nissan first. And behind the Nissan now, we'll give it a little bit of gas. And just like that, we're up to speed. I will say, with the Nissan, you do get the NA V6, which I know a lot of people really enjoy having that engine versus going turbos, going hybrids, things like that that you do see in the Tacoma. Only time will tell with the differences between the two, but the Nissan here is one of the only midsize trucks to still have that naturally aspirated engine available, which I think is a plus for some people who are looking for that style engine. As far as driving this out on the road, it's very nice. I've been in the Frontiers before. Again, I'll have the full review if you want to see some more of what I talk about, what it's like being in this truck. But it's really nice. The one downside I will say with this particular model, or with the Frontiers in general, is the steering is very heavy. It's a different feel compared to the Tacoma. So it is heavier at slower speeds. If you're taking this off-road, it's going to be something that's a little bit inconvenient, I'd say. Slower speed parking lot situations, it definitely is heavy. So I do wish that that was a little bit lighter, especially like right now. You almost have to fight it a little bit. But aside from that, it's a nice truck. I'd say it's pretty basic. The Tacoma's pretty basic as well. But if you want that V6 sound, this is the truck to get. And it's comfortable. Even in this particular model with the suspension, it's absorbing these bumps very well. So I don't really have any complaints with it. All the midsize trucks are going to be great options. Really just boils down to your personal liking and your personal taste. But we have a great truck here, something that you can definitely drive every single day. And now behind the wheel for the Tacoma, I will say with a little bit more torque for this model, it does get up quicker than the naturally aspirated V6. But behind the wheel now, a little bit different of a view with the hood scoop, of course. And again, it's just going to depend on what you like better. Personally, I do feel a little bit more comfortable in this, but I have owned a Tacoma before, so I'm not trying to be too biased towards the Tacoma. Like I said, the Nissan is a great option to go with. We do have a little bit more options for the Tacoma, especially this being a newly redesigned truck, trailer braking system as well. But as we do our parking lot test, just like we did in the Nissan, steering is so much lighter. You can more easily do this one-handed versus the Nissan. So going off-road, some tighter situations, you will have a little bit tighter of a turning radius compared to the Nissan. And then if we give another acceleration, I've been able to drive the new Tacoma fairly a good bit, and I've only been in one trim level, but the suspension in this drives very nice. There's really hardly a difference between this and the Frontier. Road noise seems about the same, wind noise, things like that. I've had a lot of seat time behind the wheel of the Frontier too, so owning a Tacoma and driving Frontiers a lot, honestly, they're very, very similar and identical. You do get a little bit more MPG with this engine versus the Frontier, but again, it's just going to depend on what you like better. Honestly, they're both very fun to drive, and as we see the Frontier there, both of them look good too. So of course those are going to be some personal taste with what you like, but the driving in the all-new Tacoma is definitely very nice. And so now back from the test drive between the all-new Toyota Tacoma and the 2024 Nissan Frontier. Honestly, there's not a whole lot of differences between how they drive just on a normal daily driving basis. And you have so many different trim levels between both of these trucks, depending on if you want two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, the options that you want to go with. We do have some more options for the Tacoma, being that this is the all-new 4th generation, so they've definitely ramped it up a little bit for this newer model. Maybe we'll see a brand new Frontier for 2025 to hopefully compete a little bit more with the Tacoma. But comment down below, which truck are you taking home and why between the Tacoma and the Frontier? And again, I will have detailed reviews for both of these trucks that you can take a look at for these specific models. But I hope you enjoyed today's head-to-head comparison. If you did, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.